About that, talking to Dan Wetzel, columnist for Yahoo Sports, who wrote about this Jim Harbaugh potential contract extension and some of the sticking points with that. And Dan, it feels like, according to your reporting, it is all about this language regarding a potential out clause, essentially, correct?
Well, it's about whether Harbaugh gets a job. Look, if the right place offers him an NFL job, I think he's going to take it. And we could have, 7 openings right now. Dallas, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh could still open. And so we're moving into some. That's almost a third of the league could have an opening, and some really strong franchises. This isn't just like anyone want to take that Carolina job. Like that's a graveyard. When you've got that many, big-time franchises, I think that the chances of Harbaugh getting a job that he's going to want are pretty high. So I still think, I think he'll leave for the NFL. But if he stays, there's a lot of talk. Is the contract done? Is it not? They haven't figured out the termination clauses. It's $11.5 million. Guaranteed, 6 years, highest paid coach in college football. But, what can he be terminated for? So he's looking for basically immunity from being terminated for anything that happened in the first scandal that we had, the so-called cheeseburger thing. As fans kind of to call it, a little bit more than that. But there's that case that they've already gotten the notice of allegations, and then there's the Connor Stallions advanced scouting. So on either of those, he would not be able to be terminated. Then he wants, they're entering this era of college football where the new rule is the coach has strict liability for what any staffer does on any violations that someone on the staff does. The coach is also responsible. I expect this to be pretty controversial going forward. I think the Harbaugh camp is kind of looking ahead at that and saying, look, we don't want to be fired. But, if something like a Connor Stallions happens, it's really hard to have full control over 100 people working underneath you. So they're looking for different protections on how he can be fired and what these penalties go with. So it's unusual. Some of the language is unusual in college athletics. The whole situation's unusual, though. Usually a coach that's under 2 NCAA violations is not also getting job interviews with the NFL and coming off a national championship and renegotiating a deal. So it's kind of uncharted waters in the way deals are usually done in college athletics. Harbaugh's got a lot of power at a time when he also has a lot hanging over his head that is negative.
Hey, Dan, just sticking with the Michigan part of this and not the draw of the NFL or what potentially, he may get a job, he may not get a job. If he gets a job, he'll take it. Just the pure contract termination clause of it. Is that a Ward Manuel thing? Is that a Santa Ono thing? Because for a layperson, let's just call it like we're two Michigan alums sitting up here. We love the program. I can't imagine... I can't imagine not letting him, just continue on. What do you mean you're gonna terminate him if something comes back from the NCAA? Like, what don't they know? Do they think something is out there that they don't know? How can't this contract be done? I guess is what I'm asking. It doesn't seem like he even has anything to sign at this point.
Well, I think I think that they've agreed on the current investigations. I want to be really precise here because it's a precise question, and I don't want to misstate it. I believe they have agreed on the current cases, but what about ones going forward? Is there something else? Could something happen 2 years down the line? I think that if you generally look, it's not necessarily a fight with Ward Manuel or Santa Ono or anything like that. I think Jim Harbaugh feels like Michigan is behind him. Has he better? I mean, they backed him. They couldn't have backed him more last fall. Can't make him, their highest paid guy. All these things. I think it's in the general context, you'd say there's no way Michigan's firing him, right? If an AD tried to fire Jim Harbaugh right now, the outrage and the uproar would cause all those people to get fired. Just taking away, not saying Ward or anybody else, but just in general, it's like Nick Saban was basically unfireable, right?
Right.
I mean, nothing, unless he murders somebody, nothing could have happened at Alabama that he was going to get fired. Pretty much.
Yeah.
He would have to commit a crime, I think, for somebody like that to be fired. So that in theory, but they're trying to maybe codify it in the contract of like, well, what if? Do I guarantee that? I mean, Jim Harbaugh's not getting fired because the fans and the alums and the boosters would be outraged if he was. So, but as they kind of work this thing through, they're on dual tracks of trying to get the best deal out of Michigan, but also leave their NFL options. One of the parts of that is they don't want the new contract to start until February 15th. Right now, the buyout, if the Chargers hire Jim Harbaugh right now, the Chargers owe Michigan $1.5 million as part of the contract. That's his buyout if he leaves. The new contract that would raise to $4 million, he doesn't want that to start till February 15th, which by then all these jobs would have been sorted out. So, both sides are trying to get the best situation and the most protections and all of those things that they possibly can going forward. It's not unusual for that to happen. It's just, as with everything with Harbaugh, it's drawn out in public. It's just the kind of the nature of the guy.
Hey, Dan, forgive me if you answered this question already, but if Michigan forgoes the language for Jim Harbaugh to sign right now, does Jim Harbaugh stay at Michigan in that scenario? Because
I don't know. Well, I'm not his agent, so I don't know. It's not holding him up because he wants to see what NFL jobs are going to get offered.
Okay.
If it was as simple as that, they would have a deal. But he's in Los Angeles interviewing for a job for a reason. And like I said, there could be 10 NFL jobs open, including, we're talking serious franchises.
Cowboys.
New England, Dallas, Philly, Pittsburgh. Like, these are the real teams, not Carolina and stuff like that. Not these other, the blue blood NFL programs. And you come in and there is talent. And I'm not saying he's going to get those jobs, but if this isn't if he can't get a job this year, the NFL doesn't want him. I mean, he's got a third of the league potentially open, all over the country, all different situations. So I don't think there's anything Michigan can do that would just have Jim Harbaugh sign a contract right now. They're just trying to get the most protection in case this doesn't work out.
Dan, were you surprised about Nick Saban walking away from Alabama and how quick the Washington head coach, Kalen DeBoer, went over there?
Not really. I mean, I didn't think – I thought there was a lot of thought that Saban would retire after the Rose Bowl loss. It was certainly a possibility. But then when he didn't for about 2 weeks, or at least over a week, and you heard he was on the SEC conference call with the coaches, and he's interviewing people, and he's making recruiting visits. So, all right, he's back for another year. So the timing was a little bit of a surprise in the micro, but the idea that at 72 he decided that was it. There certainly had been a lot of belief that this was coming this year, next year, last year, whatever it was going to be. And then, they were able to go right out and get Kalen DeBoer. But when you have a job like this, you're going to be able to go right to the top guys, and there's no, I got to come check out the facilities, you're either in or you're out. So, Greg Byrne, their AD, said, hey, we'll get this done in 72 hours, and it took like 52 hours. If Michigan opened, they could probably do the same thing at this point. I think they will go directly to Sharon Moore. I don't think that would happen. They'd even interview, but it's basically like, you want this job or not, because I'll call the next guy. Or Jimmy Sexton, the power agent, handles a lot of these coaches. So you kind of just go through him, and he's sorting through his client list. So these things can get done pretty quickly and at an Alabama level. And I think at Michigan, at this stage, they could probably do the same. A lot of coaches have already re-upped and all that, so they have a smaller coaching pool. But I think Michigan, if Jim Harbaugh does go to the NFL, Sharon Moore will probably get that job right away.
Yeah, I'll go back to your Boston roots for the last question. Where's Bill Belichick going?
He interviewed with Atlanta yesterday.
Yep.
Now, if you remember this, New England once trailed Atlanta 28-3 in the Super
I
Bowl.
remember that.
So, like,
That would be nuts.
He would have
you
run the
really
ball,
got to
though.
interview the
He would have run the ball.
Interview the guy.
Yeah, I know.
They could have run the ball, but
Yep.
it's like, so have you ever faced adversity, Bill? And how did you handle it? And did you ever accomplish anything out of great? Well, I'll tell you, Atlanta. One time we were losing 28-3 in the Super Bowl, and we won the damn thing. Can you imagine Bill Belichick's resume? Does he print out a resume? Is he on like LinkedIn?
It's not enough paper
Like,
in the machine.
What in the
funny.
world is an interview about?
Well, I guess can you get
you
along with
crushed
Arthur
us.
Blank?
You delivered the crushingest crush of loss of all time to us. But we want to hear a little bit more about how you'd like to coach the run game. What are you doing? Either hire him or don't. He's Bill Belichick. What are we
That's
doing?
so funny. Have you ever faced adversity? Yes. Dan, thanks.
So, Bill,
That's funny.
how would you handle adversity in a game? How would you keep your team motivated? Have you ever had to deal with that? Well, yeah. Don't you remember?
Oh my gosh, it's so
I
great.
don't know. I mean, you
First
show
half.
up with your rings? How do you interview Bill Belichick? I don't even understand this.
It's got to be
I
a
don't even
nerve-wracking
understand this
interview.
process.
That's so
Yeah,
great.
I mean, he's interviewing you. Like, who are
much.
you?
Exactly. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Oh my God, Dan! Thanks so much for the time. Great piece on Yahoo Sports. We encourage
sure.
everybody to check it out. It's all over the place on Dan's Twitter, on mine, on ours, all over the place. Thanks so much, Dan. We appreciate it.
See you, Dan.
All right, see you guys.
You got it.
Dan.
Dan Wetzel, columnist, Yahoo Sports. I thought that was one of the things that he just said there. I don't think there's anything that Michigan can do, language or no language,
Right.
to get him to sign a contract right now.
Don Yee is his agent. He signed him for a reason.
Yeah.
He's gone. He's gone. He's gone. And I got nothing left. I got Sharon Moore. I mean,
Hey, hold on.
I'm done. I'm done.
Maz.
Yeah.
Two things. One, Sharon Moore beat.
I know.
He beat Penn State.
I
He beat
know.
Ohio State.
He
But
didn't coach him all week. Jim Harbaugh coached him up all week.
this is true too.
He don't do it for me, man.
Did you see? Speaking of the board, did you see how he didn't tell his kids he was leaving?
Nobody does though.
No, but like he did.
He pulled the Brian Kelly.
Yeah, he
But he
pulled the Brian
did the
Kelly.
exit meeting,
Right.
Yeah.
and didn't even tell him in the meeting.
Right.
Like left after the exit meeting.
God.
Said, I'll see you guys
Right.
in another league.
Like damn. Like,
Oh man.
Sharon Moore.
Oh God.
Go blue.
Ryan Day found out Donovan Edwards was coming back. Did you see that?
That was
No.
manufactured.
I know. I'm joking.
Oh, okay.
I'm joking.
Guys,